It's only been a week, but it feels like a month, Alan. How long has it been since we
really
talked?
does.
Right? When we go too long and not talk. I started to go through Alan withdrawal. I just can't handle it. I know.
That makes me feel special.
That's good. But
you were thinking about me when you're out jet setting around. Like, I wonder what Alan's doing. Just
so not a lot of jet
sad.
setting, right? So my son just graduated from UGA. We're very excited for that. Went up to the mountains, played a little mountain golf for the first time in a long time.
That was a big ass cigar you had in your mouth.
I did too,
Yeah.
buddy. Huh? I don't smoke them as much anymore, but we had to have the victory.
Well, that one kind of made up for it.
Yeah, that was awesome. And so last week I did do a little cool thing. I got invited from Barbara Heil Sonneck, who has been on our podcast, to help a charity, which is a really cool charity I'd never heard of, and it helps abused children to convalesce and to grow, and they're called Sapria. So shout out to Sapria. I'll put those guys in the notes. But I walked in, right? I walk into this place. It's down in Buckhead, which is very fancy, as you know, in Atlanta. And I had to walk in with a sport coat on. I had to take off the uniform with a trusted toolbox and go back to the corporate world days of wearing the shirt again.
How'd they fit? How'd the coat fit?
A little tight, buddy.
Snug?
Little snug. The working out's not working out. So I walk in. And I had just got done working with my mastermind group. And for those who listen, know that I'm part of a mastermind group that's really helped me not only grow my business, but help me personally and professionally hit goals and really process issues. And one of the issues I processed was I need to tell a better story about the Trusted Toolbox. And we had a story brand teller on, and we had Lisa McGuire. And so as these guys are helping me process the issue, they're giving me all this advice, and hey, I'll give you a referral, and I'll give you a name, and you got to be doing that. And why your business is so cool is because really you focus so much on training and the culture of your company to be able to scale to have 15 handymen, much less just one. That's a great story, but you got to have somebody tell it more eloquently you. And I'm like, yes, thank you, of course. So I wrote down Lisa McGuire. I go to this Buckhead soiree, fancy, got the coat. I walk in, and there she is. And
no kidding.
And I'm just staring at her, and she's looking at me, and she comes and goes, "Hi, Chris." And I swear to God, it was the most long, awkward pause you've ever had. I just sat there and looked at her, because in my head I'm like, did I talk to you already? Did you know I was supposed to talk to you? And so I finally just blurted it all out. And so Lisa McGuire, who's come on the podcast and has her podcast as well, is going to help me tell the story of the Trusted Toolbox. But that's just how it kind of works in the world of the empire of podcasting that we are.
Amazing. That was a good episode, by the way.
Yeah. And you know what? It might be second to this one we're about to do.
Really?
I think so, big guy.
Get my expectations up.
Huh? I don't know. I haven't had a chance to actually talk to Richard. We have Richard Walsh on from and he's a business coach, and we'll talk about his business in a sec. But we read his bio, and I just went, yeah, we got to have this guy on. It's going to be a lot of fun. And before we got started on the podcast, we're like, all right, man, at least he's from the Midwest. And he's going to talk our language, and we're going to have to drink while we do it. So, Richard Walsh, welcome to the show. Can't wait to talk.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Cheers. Thanks, Chris and Alan. Appreciate it. Yeah, looking forward to it. Let's do it.
Let's do this. So, the official title of your coaching, I kept screwing it up because I kept saying Sharpen. I was like, Sharp this, Sharp.
You've got 2 pages of notes. You must be.
I do. I have a lot of notes. I know.
Richard, that's a big compliment. Chris kind of wings it, and 2 pages of notes. He must have been a little nervous for you.
I was a little nervous, and you can tell that I'm better winging it because I couldn't even come up with his business name. So,
you want me to see, Chris? Want me to do it for you?
Could you introduce yourself, please, to us?
Yeah, let me take this off your shoulders. You seem troubled.
I got to mop your forehead. You're sweating a little bit.
Man, I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, buddy. So Sharpen the Spear Coaching. That's the name of the business, right? So Sharpen the Spear. I have a very, as you may find out, I've kind of got a warrior mentality, right? U.S. Marine, champion boxer, black belt, internationally recognized steel sculptor. I don't know how that fits in the warrior part, but it's kind of cool. I've done some really cool stuff. Husband, father of 6 children, who aren't children so much anymore. So it's great. So Sharpen the Spear, it's really about honing the entrepreneurial warrior on the battlefield of business.
I love it.
Yeah.
So let's go back. Did you get in the Marines right out of high school? Was that a college and then go in officer candidate school? How'd you go?
No, college wasn't going to work for me. So at 17, I went to Marine Corps. So I went in, I call it university, USMC. It kind of sounds like it's a university, but
yeah,
they run it a little different.
So how long were you in?
4 years.
4 years. And then did you keep up the boxing when you left? And
I started boxing after the Marine Corps.
oh, okay. Oh, so you weren't boxing in. Oh, I misread that. Okay.
Yeah, Marine Corps, we just killed people and stuff like that. We didn't,
Yeah,
didn't
you
get like
know.
the sweet science or anything. You just kind of down and dirty. You did your business. So I need something with a little more finesse.
So he's like, so I got plenty of violence in those 4 years. So I waited till after. Then I decided to hone my violence into a more
Yes.
crack, into the boxing.
And
crack.
it's funny that from that perspective, boxing is actually much less violent,
I
which
know.
is not how most people think about boxing.
No, not at all. Well, excellent. So you did that, but you had to come out and you had to go do work stuff. So did you go corporate world? What'd you do?
So I came out and like, I'm going to work, right? So I'm a jarhead. I was a Stinger gunner. Okay. That's a shoulder fire anti-aircraft missile, heat-seeking intercept missile with a life expectancy of 3 to 5 seconds after firing. My life expectancy.
What?
Not jet. Yeah. It was, so you can imagine they brought that out in around Vietnam. You can imagine who they put in those positions, right? Would you think it's the best of the best, or did they go to the brig and grab some guys?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
So I was in the early 80s. So some of those traditions had hung on, and you can imagine how that was. We won't get into all that, but it was interesting. So getting out, I got to work. I got to make money. So I literally started digging ditches with a pickaxe to lay cable back in the initial cable days, right? $5 an hour. I swung a pickaxe down in Tucson, Arizona.
Oh, good Lord.
2-4 inches at a time. Guy behind me cleaning out this trench, got to go 18 inches deep. And that's what I did all day, $5 an hour. And I'm like, man, this is, and I tell you what, it was me, an Army Ranger. He was our foreman. Had another Navy guy, Big Squid. We had him and like one other dude helping us. We hand dug more trench than anyone on the entire Western United States. We're doing like 1,100 feet a day. Savages, right? We just like, it was just a challenge, but anyways, so working for people, I was doing that. So I got to make money. And what I tell people is I am the finest employee you'll ever want, right? I show up early. I'll stay late. You don't have to tell me what to do. I get things done. I do it better. I do it faster. I'm awesome. You're living pure joy if I'm working for you till about the 12th month mark. Then I have to run your company.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for the
Okay.
entrepreneurial spirit was going to kick right in.
Yeah.
And go,
So it is
"You're
birth.
running this thing like crap, and I'm going to tell you how to fix it from my
Exactly.
pickaxe stance."
Exactly. And I realized too, after 4 years in the Corps, that I really didn't like taking direction. So
That
I
doesn't
kinda
go over
had-
very well in the military, does it?
No, it's a different life. My son is now in the Marine Corps. So that's interesting to watch too. But yeah, so I said, well, I'm here digging, I'm shoveling, I'm doing stuff for $5-6 an hour. And then I got a side gig to do this place in Phoenix, to shovel some granite and spread it in the backyard. And I made $1,000 in a day. And I just went, oh, wait, it's the same $5 or $6 an hour or $1,000 a day. Let me think. What should I do? I think I'll buy a wheelbarrow and a shovel. And that's birthed the whole beginning of the business thing. And it was 100 degrees out, and I'd shovel 35 tons of granite, dump it, spread it. I mean, I was lathered up. I was hot. I was tired, but man, I made $1,000
every
in a
day.
day. Let's rinse and repeat that 5-6 days a week. Okay. That'd be all right. So that was my like epiphany of, this is the way I got to go. Whatever it's going to be for myself.
I love it. All right, so you start that, but now you're a solopreneur doing this up, but you had to keep growing. So you obviously have somewhat of an interest in business, besides your side interests that you have. So how did you start to look to scale that, or is that the one you started to scale?
I think it'd be really hard to try to find other people who really got into 3,500 pounds of granite a day in Phoenix with the same level of intensity that you had.
Yeah, but here's the beauty. This is where the business part comes in, right? So I'm doing this, and yeah, I can get some guys and they can help me and everything else. But then I met a friend of my father's, and he had a dump truck and he had some equipment and stuff, and he did some excavating. I'm like, hey man, can you help me on this job? He said, let me come down and see what you're doing. If we're going to move 50 tons of gravel, and put it in the back and everything. He goes, okay. And I'm like, well, I got a couple guys, we got shovels. He goes, let me show you something. And he goes, he took 2 wheelbarrows and he put them, point to point. He took his backhoe and he scooped the gravel and he poured it in one wheelbarrow. He scooped another. He poured it in there. We picked up, ran it, dumped it in the back. We did that 50 tons in like 2.5 hours. Okay. And he's like, you got to let the machine do the work. I'm like, Oh, and this was scale to me. Okay. This is how, where do I get one of
Oh,
these?
this is Grog likes machine. Yes.
Right. This is amazing. Okay. So I'm still young and dumb and I get it, but I'm like, I'm coachable. Okay. So I started then that actually turned into, guys, it turned into custom water features. So I'm doing waterfalls, boulders, all that stuff. Really love that. One of the first ones to do that. That's what I scaled. And I grew that into being the best in the country. I did some amazing projects, massive things, award winning. I incorporated my steel sculpture. I taught myself how to do steel sculpture, to world-class exhibits on that and stuff. And that kind of growing, it was great. Like, okay, I got a crew, I got all this, I got an office manager. I'm still doing a lot of the stuff, but I'm also an artist. I got to play, and I don't look like an artist, but I'm an artist. So I can do cool stuff, so I can play that role too. And then it got to the point where, hey, we're really cranking, things are going great. I'm getting unbelievable margins on what I do because no one can do what I do. And that's a really good position to be in.
Mm-hmm.
That's
People
definitely
want
not a
what you do.
commodity, bro. That's
Okay.
definitely being unique and have a unique selling proposition. So beautiful. All right, you're rocking. You're on top of the world. You're it.
Yes. So I get married and poof, we have 6 kids. That's a whole nother story, but there's 6 little kids under 4 years old in the house. And like, that's really good. Then 08 comes. Okay. Yeah. Do the math.
Yeah.
Do the math. Yeah. So right now I have a 19, 2 18s, 2 17s, and a 16.
Holy cow.
So yeah, it was fun. Not a lot of sleep those first couple of years.
Who needs
Your
one?
poor
We can
wife.
have 2. Oh
That's
my
right.
God.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
have a
And
friend who
we-
has triplets and then a fourth 16 months after their youngest just graduated from college as well this year. And I thought that was insanity. But what you just described, now that's a football team.
That's unbelievable.
It's a cool. And my wife still wanted triplets.
Oh boy.
Really?
Okay. So yeah, we didn't get the triplets, but the rest worked out pretty well.
Yeah, you did good. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it is a cool story, but we'll share that later maybe. So I've got that 08 comes, that awesome year of 08 09, right? When everyone like,
Yeah, I don't remember that.
you
Yeah,
remember that?
you know,
Is that
yeah,
coming?
well, we have
I've
been
blocked it
through a
out.
lot of therapy.
You just coasted, right? Just coasted right through like everyone else.
Yeah.
That was hard. And guess what? People didn't have to have a pond in their backyard.
Mm.
They just could say no to that. It wasn't a must have.
When did you really start to feel it? I mean, I think that's one of the things as a year ago, we talked about you got to be ready for a recession. Even, the recession that we remember in 08 was cataclysmic. And then we lived through COVID, which is another complete, just turn it all off, shutdown. But as you're looking at the recession and we got into 7, then 8, when did you really start to feel it? And how did you start to feel and sense it?
November 5th, 2008,
Bingo.
the day after the election. My phone started ringing. Oh, we're out. We're not gonna be able to do it. We're out. We're out. Hang it up. We're out. We're out. Lost $500,000 in that day
Oh
of
God.
people just canceling. And they weren't wrong to hold on to their money, right? They were the smart
Right.
ones.
They were
No
you're
one-
right.
And I'm like, wow. And at the end of the day, I'm sitting at my desk and I'm looking over my office manager. And I said, I think it's over. I think it's over. This is one day. I said, we're not going to make it.
Yeah. And so what do they always tell you when you run your own business? Never get too high, never get too low. And you're sitting there going, we're done. It's over. It's out. We're out. Yeah, we're outie. We're done.
Yeah, it's like, and we're going into the winter. So I'm a seasonal business, right? For the most part, we take a few months off, then we're kind of back in the shows and everything else. And I'm like, okay, so we started limping through 09 and it just kept getting worse. I'm like, there's nothing to do. I'm like, everything from being so good, so great. And this is part of the whole story. There's a lot of things when you're doing really well as an owner, especially an owner that's responsible for more things than they should be. I didn't do. I call it pushing it off to the left of the desk, and that pile kind of grew. That came back to bite me in 09. And literally for us, everything evaporated. Lost the house, business closed down, everything. Like, I'm just finished. I'm like, okay, I gotta figure out what we're gonna do. I'm a wife and 6 kids. We got nowhere to live. This is interesting. So we had to figure things out, and that was the start. But at that same time, I remember waking up this one morning with another epiphany, and it was, I've got these 6 little kids, and when I come home, whether it's 7, 8 o'clock at night, because I worked a lot of hours, they just attack me, right? They just want to see you. They run, they jump all over you. It's awesome. Matter of fact, it's so difficult with 6 small children that age, like in diapers. We all slept in the family room on like the egg crate mattress thing. All of us, all 8 of us. And if kidneys find reached over, stuck a bottle in their mouth, change them in the dark. I don't care. I'm like, I'm not going up and down stairs every time a kid cries. Okay, because I have to sleep. So I wanted to take a load off my wife's shoulders and kind of handle the night stuff since she's doing it all day. So that was one little element. But I did realize, like, wow, that's kind of what they love that. One day I'm leaving, my one son is like chasing my truck, crying as I'm leaving the driveway. Like you look in the rearview mirror, your kid's crying, running after the truck. You're like, what am I doing? You know, it's like these kids, they don't see me all day. I'm out doing stuff. And I just realized, like, you know what? If I stay on this path, all my children are going to know is business comes first. Comes before family, comes before faith, comes before friends. It comes before everything. You sacrifice everything so you can be number one. They didn't care what I drove. They didn't care, you know, where I worked, what I did, who I knew. They don't care even where we lived really, right? And that was a biggie. That's what helped me kind of close the business and really say, it's over. I've been defeated in a sense. Because I'm like, I'm not going to do that to my kids. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where I'm going to live, but I know I'm not going to do this. So I'm going to start again because I'm not big into losing either. I'm going to start again, but I'm going to connect the dots and what happened and what I did wrong, which was a lot of dots. And then I'm going to rebuild whatever I'm going to do. I'm going to start again and get that right. I'm going to be around for my kids. We homeschool them all the way through high school, right? So I just like, we're doing that and I'm just going to be involved. Now, I wasn't a stay-at-home dad because I'm going to run a business, but I understand I created the schedule that made me be around like as much as I wanted to.
So, so what was the reemergence? What was the new idea, the epiphany?
So-
Because it still took, I mean, again, looking back on it, you said it was November 5, 8, and at 9, it was that slow bleed out. And Ellen and I talked about this before. I think every entrepreneur hangs on about,
Way too long.
wait, that's the number.
Yeah.
Way too long.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
now,
10 sucked, 11 sucked,
right. Yeah. So,
12 sucked. It's about 13 when it came back, right?
yeah, I started to see the rebound for me in 12, but then again, I was in the handyman business.
Yeah.
Smaller ticket items came back. 13 took till remodeling. Actually, people went, okay, I guess I better change out and do some more stuff.
You're lucky you're remodeling. New construction, you were 10 years waiting.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly
I
right.
mean, it was that just crushed the industry. That was like, man, the door was shut and locked with 3 different bolts. I mean, that was horrible. But yeah, so what I did, I really started thinking like, well, what have I done in the past? Where am I at? What am I going to do? How do I reinvent myself? One thing I knew though, guys, was I was never going to do what I did. I'm really weird. I'm an all or nothing guy. Like, so like I saw anything I had left, and I did own everything I had, equipment, trucks. I sold everything, right? I didn't want anything to do with, sold every welder. I sold every piece of equipment, every truck. I have video like burning my polo shirts.
That's like scorched earth. I mean,
Yeah, I'm like, I'm never going to have my identity in my business.
Burn the bridges.
Because it's
Wow.
like my company is called Rick Rock. So I've used part of my name. I'm like, if you only saw me with that shirt on, that hat on, the jeans, or that was like, that was my identity. And I realized like I'm never doing that again. Okay. because all that is about me. And if you make the business all about you, you're going to go down some bad roads, you know, without even knowing it, but you are. So it's kind of tricky. So that was one of the things I said, okay, that's all out. It's going to be something completely new. Now I was a big workout guy, fitness guy, you know, boxer, all this. I train people. I trained elites down to, you know, intermediate school stuff. I've done all that. So I'm like, oh, I think I'll just, for now, I'm going to start being a trainer again. I'm going to start training people. I think that'd be fun. So I started training people. I went to Anytime Fitness and, you know, me, I'm just kind of like do things really well. I became trainer of the year. Okay. So I'm like, I'm trainer of the year. I'm like, okay, I got all my own clients. I'm building this whole thing there. I'm like, and they weren't kind of super friendly to me. So I'm like, well, let's go start my own gym because I'm an entrepreneur. So I went and opened a gym, you know, and it was a boot camp style training. I created bodyweight training programs, did all this and scaled that up. And that was awesome. That was really great. 30-minute workouts, guys. I had 7 a day and people lining up, you know, paying a couple $100 a month to be there. And it was great. So really scaled that up, but that gave me all my freedom because now at different times I hired trainers, I had people come and do the training and stuff. I'm like, yeah, this is good. Now it's not huge. I'm not like, you know, making $100 million, but I'm like, yeah, this is manageable. this is scalable. And I started putting these things together, those dots I connect, like, okay, don't make that mistake. Don't do this. Delegate. So we had this 3-word thing we say, it's automate, delegate, and eliminate. Right? Those are 3 things we always want to do. Automate as much as you can, delegate everything else, and eliminate whatever you don't need. And the elimination that I always remind people is me.
Right.
Eliminate me
Yeah.
from out of this process.
Get me out of this job, get me out of this role. That's a great, it's a beautiful way to look at it. Automate, delegate, and then eliminate. I love it.
So with what you've learned at this point, do you think you could have gone back and started the rock business over and done it differently?
Yeah, my kids have hounded me to do it again because no one's better than me. I have a winery 2 miles down the road from me that could use, I'm like, all I have to do is just pitch it. 15-foot high water feature. People come for photos. It'll put them on the map. I go, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to, I can do, actually, there's 2 different ones I could do. Wedding venues. I'm like, I'm not even going to offer. I'm not getting sucked back into that.
Burn the bridges. That's discipline, bro. Because honestly, I can't tell you I've been as disciplined. I would have said absolutely, because I will do anything.
You're a big whore.
I am a whore.
Yeah.
Well, that's my. I can be careful how I say this. My wife would like me to do that. She's not that, but she's, she's like, well,
oh yeah, whoa, yeah, whoa. Especially
Yeah.
if listen to that. I did not call your
Right.
wife that at
That's
all.
right.
No.
That's right.
Anybody who
caught it.
homeschooled all those 6 kids like
Yeah.
that.
So
I was
He's,
like,
he's a champion boxer and a black belt, and you just called his wife a whore?
no, I didn't. No,
Yeah,
I didn't.
I
And I
kinda
do
sounded
not live
like
in
it.
Atlanta. And my name is Alan Wyatt. And I
Right.
look really
Right.
like him. No,
Your address, I think the name on the box is the Vander Holyfield, right? He's still down there in Atlanta.
he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
My boy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But you resisted it. I mean, actually, that's the shiny object syndrome, and that's another one. We joked about you not doing it, made light of it, but that's discipline. That's like, no, I'm not going back down that path again. I'm going to stay on this because this seems like my best path for my personal success, right?
Well, and he obviously is good at absolutely everything he does. So he's got that confidence in his back pocket.
Yeah,
Whereas for most people, you would advise them, go with what you know.
yeah, you're right.
Well-
You're right. I think if I was sitting back, I'd say, man,
Do the rocks.
you got
Do the rocks, put some sculptures on it,
You
sell
know
it
Rick
for a lot
Rock,
of money.
Sculpture, that's a creative outlet. I would talk you into it. I would have
yeah,
tried.
you got to remember that there's one caveat to I'm good at everything I do. I'm too dumb to quit. Okay, so like, you ever read the book Grit? You guys
No.
ever read that book Grit?
I have not. No.
So Grit is by Angela Duckworth. If you ever get a chance, it's phenomenal. The research is unbelievable, but it says the reason people succeed in business, the number one reason isn't capitalization, isn't smart, it's grit. And you're talking 300 pages of research, and the people, it's just hanging in there. It's staying in it long enough, mastering it, the constant practice, all that kind of stuff. And a friend of mine, big entrepreneur buddy of mine, he actually sent me a text. He goes, have you read this book? Because it's about you.
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, so I'll check it out. And yeah, I scored 97% on the grit scale. Okay, so I'm kind of up there. But it really is, is that perseverance.
I'm kind of up there, 97%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a feeling he's like 1000%. Oh,
It's
he's
incredible
like,
humility right there. I'm kind of up there.
Yeah.
You're the best at humility.
That's right. Enough about me. Let's
Talk about you.
Can we talk about me again, please? Thank you. All right. So you're doing the fitness. You didn't do it. But
yeah.
So you scale what, multiple facilities?
Yeah, I got a couple going. I'm like, well, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. And here's a problem. And this is a warning to people who are really into what they do. Like, I'm a great trainer. I love people who want to work out, and I am the results guy. Okay. You will get results from me because I will take it to near death and I'll bring it back, and
Beat
it's
it
all
out of
good,
you.
right? So, I train guys to go in the military. I trained my son. He did 3 a days for 7 months straight before he went in the basic.
Basic
Okay,
was easy.
We're talking, right? But like, if people didn't like that and they just kind of came and did a workout, it's really irritating. I didn't like that. Like, I wanted to kick them out of my gym because I didn't really understand. Well, I knew what it was, but there's a gym model, right? And you get as many members as you can, and you pray that 80% never show up.
Right.
'Cause
Planet
that's the
Fitness.
number.
Yeah.
They
The
don't,
Anytime
right? 'Cause
Fitness.
you can't
Right.
park all the cars, right? So, but I was too much into, like, I only want people who want to be just monsters, and that's not a good business model. Okay. There's people that want to be around people who train hard. They just want to be in the atmosphere. That's why they go to sports games, right?
You're right.
They want to be on the field playing. They want to be around the people playing.
Yeah, you want to
Body
swim with the sharks. So
rest.
you've had that mentality, right? You're going to go to the Gold's Gym back in the day, and you're going to see how much you can throw up. You're going to go play sports, and you don't want to go play with the young kids. You want to play the older kids and get your ass kicked and see if you can go beat them. I mean, not a warrior mentality. It's a challenge mentality. I mean, I believed in that one 100%.
Yeah, I mean, boxing for me was like that. There's 4 steps to the ring to go up before you step through the ropes. They're the longest 4 steps you ever take in your life. And when you spar every day you have to walk those 4 steps, slide in there, either take a beating or give a beating. And it's usually taking a beating. And I'm sparring with pros, I'm sparring with everybody, like take all comers. And yeah, you get rocked. Some days you have good days, but that's one of those perseverance things. Every day, 6 days a week, go back, do it again and again and again and really get those skills up. So again, that really transfers over the business too. So yeah, so I did that, but then I got, okay, I'm going to get into contracting. So actually I moved from there, sold the business, then moved into roofing and exteriors. So I'll do that. That looks pretty cool. I got a buddy who does that. I can do that. We can get subcontract. We can do this. And I figured it all out and I figured the insurance thing. And again, I'm kind of fearless when it comes to starting a business. So like, let's start doing it. Oh, I did a roof. Oh, look, I made $5,000. That's kind of cool. It only took us a day. So I'm back to that lure again. And I started doing that for about 5 years. And that was good. I can't say I loved it, but it's a great income generator. Sometimes you go, well, it does make money. And if it can run by without me, that's a good thing. Right. So if you're looking that way and say, I'd love to have an income generator that's pulling in 150, 200,000 that I'm not involved with, I'm okay with that. Right.
Right.
Like, let's make that happen. And I call it my apple orchard. Like a business is like an apple tree. I don't want an 800-foot apple tree. Okay. That keeps growing and growing and growing because that's unmanageable and undesirable. And the only thing that grows continuously is like cancer. And what does it do? Kills the host. Right. So how about I have an apple orchard of 20-foot apple trees? Each one's a business, and I created that way. That can be self-running, self-managing, and do that right. So moved into that frame. And at the same time, people are talking to me, other business owners, like, man, you like completely, failed in 08, 09. And you came back. How'd you do all that? So I started helping people. Like, well, I did this, this, and this, and then they come back for more advice. You know how it works. I call it the mentor role. The one you do for free. That's not
Right.
a coach. The mentor role you do for free.
I put that in my book. I'm like, you don't ever ask somebody to be a mentor because all that is asking for free advice and a cup of coffee. Yeah.
That's it. It's not even good coffee.
It's not even good coffee. Yeah, it's
so,
not. And I'm not really paying for good coffee either.
Right.
What? Yeah.
Mixing it at home, mushroom coffee. Okay. So so that was like, well, I'm really good at training. I'm really good at coaching. I'm like helping all these people. I help people get fit. I send people in the core. I'm like, maybe I'll be a business coach because I didn't have any business coaches when I came up. And even if there were, that's one thing, guys, I never asked for help. I was one prideful, ego-filled dude. I'm doing it all by myself. Ain't no one helping me. And I had multi-billion-dollar clients who were offering me free advice. Now, what do they know? What do they know? It's not going to work. I mean, so you own a couple of professional sports teams and you make this and these businesses, you can't tell me what to do. So I wasn't too bright.
You don't know my business as well as I do.
Yes.
Yeah. I might have said it a couple of times.
Yeah, I resemble that remark too.
Yeah.
I hate it. All that intellectual information. Oh my God, capital that you could have gotten
if you just open your ears and listen. Yep.
Yeah, it's shameful. It was straight up shameful. Like I'm like, now it's all about the help. Like you don't live without someone helping you. Like you seek it out, right? I mean, and if you look at anyone at any level who's successful in many different areas, it's because they're getting that help. They've got that good counsel, right? They hire a coach. They bring someone, whether it's physical training, business training, whatever it is, spiritual stuff, whatever they got going on, they always hire that. So I really kind of assumed that role. I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna write a book. Someone goes, you should write a book. And I go, yeah, I like to write. I wrote a lot since I was little. So okay, I'll knock out a book. So I'm gonna knock out a book. What happened? Weave my story in there, and I end up calling it "Escape the Owner Prison." It was the contractor's new way to scale, regain control, and fast track growth while loving life. Okay, so I'm like, isn't that cool? Now, the hardest part of that book was the title and the subtitle. So writing the book was easy. The cover was a lot harder. But so I wanted to show them the journey.
What were some of your other working titles that got canned?
I had 27 working titles. So it was like well-oiled machine and all this different stuff, right? I went with the 28th. Okay. They still were working. I'm at a track meet for my son. He's running. I'm talking to another buddy of mine who's a business owner. And I said, Troy, I've been working on these titles, man, but I came up with no. What do you think about this? And I go, escape the owner prison. And he just looked at me, he goes, that resonates. That's a title. That was it. I'm like, done. I got the title. Okay. Then I
Escape
had
the
to
owner
figure out the
prison.
subtitle. What's
How,
that?
how many titles did you have, Chris, when you were working on it?
Yeah. So my book ended up becoming From the Zoo to the Wild, Your Guide to Financial Entrepreneurs, Your Guide to Entrepreneur.
It's called The Zoo to the
It's worse than
Wild.
Sharpen the
Awesome.
Spear. This is
It is. It sucks. I can't even say my own thing. But I would say I did not have 27. I'm not an overachiever. Like Richard.
It was the first one that came to your mind?
No, I think I had like 4 or 5. And I can't even think of anything that was better than From the Zoo to the Wild, because that really epitomized my world coming from corporate America. You're talking about being an owner and not being there, but I was stuck in the concrete jungle of corporate America. And I wouldn't say golden handcuffs, but man, I had that golden wall. I mean, there was just a lot of money being thrown at me, and it was hard to give it all up and to get out of it and realize you had other options. And then you get out in the wild world of running your own business, and next thing you know, you're digging trenches and getting down 12 inches and you're laying 1,100 linear feet, and you had just been with your custom suits and your Mercedes. And because when I did it, I jumped right into being a handyman, and I hired another guy, and I was a handyman, and I was doing all the work right along with him just to make sure I understood all the processes and everything I wanted to build. And I'm pretty handy, so yeah, but what I think is funny, and that's why I want to ask you this one. It is so much easier to go out and do, and I'm saying, for me to go out and lay crown mold and put crown molding all around my basement, which is what I did here.
Nice job, by
Then
the
it
way.
is, thanks. Then it is to sit down and go, where do I want to be in 10 years? Where's my business? But because when I'm done laying on the crown molding, I'm sweating, I'm sore, I know it. That was accomplishment, back to the working out thing, but when you're sitting there and trying to think about where do you want your business to go and that's the heavy lifting that has to happen, but it doesn't feel like it sometimes. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I've got the answer. I have the answer for you. I'm going to solve the whole problem right here.
Yes.
Done.
It's
only-
called.
Put your
it's
windows up,
called-
everybody.
That's right. Everyone just take a deep breath.
Pull over.
It's called exit strategy. Okay. And people think, okay, when I'm done, I'm tired, I want to sell my business. So I'm going to contact a broker and we're going to get a valuation on my business and I'm going to see what I can get. That's not an exit strategy. That's like stupidity. Okay. It's like you waited way too long to do this, and you are going to get pennies on the dollar, and you're going to be miserable, and you're going to run out of money before you die, and life's going to be terrible.
That's what you did, right?
I haven't done that yet.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm actually in the middle. Guys, you're going along the journey with me. I'm in year 3 of my 5-year exit strategy. I just hired a general manager here in Atlanta because of exactly what Richard's talking about. Is I didn't want to be the idiot selling for pennies on the dollar. Now I'll probably still sell for pennies on the dollar because it's still a handyman business, but I'm going to take a swing at the big leagues and try some bigger ideas. So
it's awesome. Here's the important thing. Let me break this down real quick. So exit strategy, I said there's 2 times to start, right? The first time to do an exit strategy is like the day before you launch your business. Like you should have your exit strategy before you launch your business.
did not have
Right?
that.
Yeah, most people don't, like almost everybody. The second time is right now. That's the next best time, right now.
Right now.
Everyone's going to do it. They get caught in making money and getting the business off the ground. And next thing you know, it's 10 years and you haven't done your exit. And you think, I'm never selling. This is me. It's my business. I'm going to do this till I die and all that great stuff. But if you go back to November 5th of 2008, sometimes you don't have a choice. So if you're going to be forced to sell due to an economy or some other kind of shift today, who knows whether it's AI or who knows what, the Chinese come, I don't care what it is, but you're going to be forced to shift. So if you haven't had an exit strategy where you're actually preparing for that end, you're building a business to sell, even if you're never going to sell. So even in a hard time, instead of getting 10 cents on the dollar, you'll be able to get 40. Right? Because you've built it, it's attractive to a buyer. Because there's always someone who's going to assimilate your business, right? But no one wants to come and start your business over. No one wants to come and create systems in your business. They don't want to do the process. They don't want to hire all the people. They want that. I said, here's the goal. If I set 10 years as my exit and I want X amount of millions or whatever the number is, how I want that transaction to go is that someone comes in, there's my business. We negotiate. I get my price They write a check, they hand it to me, I shake their hand, I'm out the door, they're in, nobody knows the business was sold. Customers don't know because it's humming. It doesn't need to, right? They can make their changes after I go. I'm not going to be retained for a year and a half to, make the transition. Because if you have to do that, you haven't built a good business.
Yeah,
Okay?
you bring
For
up
the
some
most
great
part.
points that I just again talking to people about this. It's funny how many people say and this is an M&A guy who was talking about this. Everybody says, I got a 5-year plan, but they always say 5 years because 5 years never happens, and so
Right.
they won't actually continually work on it. But what you don't know is that discipline you have to put in place. Things I'm doing today, making sure my books are solid. We close the books every month. We do it on the 15th of the month following, trying to get that even tighter. Hiring a general manager, getting myself out of the business, making less money, guys. I'm making less money right now, but building towards that exit of being able to say, look at this trusted toolbox, selling somebody on the future of what you're doing, so that when somebody, like you said, buys it and nobody even knows that it got sold, that's when you've done the right thing. Your culture is strong, your process is strong, your systems are strong, and it's hard to do. And I'm not doing it without a lot of help. A lot of help.
I think another thing, Chris, is what people don't get, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, I don't care what the time is. The other part of exit strategy is like, okay, how am I going to take my active business income and use that to build my passive income? How am I going to acquire assets that are going to generate income for me? If I want to exit in 10 years and I want to leave and I want to have a passive income, I need 80,000 a month. Okay, that's what I need to live on. Let's call it my ideal living thing, 80,000 a month. Well, what do I have to do? Is that 2 houses a year, 3.5 houses a year, commercial property? Is it other investments? What do I have to do to make that happen to be at that number so my passive can replace my active business income? That's what I want to do because now, no matter what happens, I'm covered. If I didn't get a dime for the business at the end, I've got 80 G's a month coming in because I built it that way. I had a plan for my money. It's called Parkinson's Law, right? If your money doesn't have a plan, a place to go, it will evaporate. Right. So I can come and give you $100, Chris. You'll stick that in your pocket. You'll buy Alan a couple drinks. You'll buy some more bourbon there. You'll go to lunch, everything else. And 5 days later, hey, you got that 100? I don't know what happened to that. You don't know what you spent on. It's a good time. Well, that's what happens to most people with all their money because they don't, it's 10%. Yeah, I'm going to tie 10% to the church.
But Richard, I have a really good big fast boat though. I mean, my go fast boat's big. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Well,
And
good.
lots
Until it
and lots
runs
of
out of
friends.
gas. Until it runs out of gas.
Damn it. Oh my God. I knew there was coming. I knew there was a hook. But my
But
truck's
yeah,
lifted. I got 6 inches on my truck. It's lifted up, man. It's way up there. My truck is way lifted. Way lifted, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Bigger than yours.
monster.
Yeah.
Monster. It's
Monster
good.
truck.
Well,
You know what that gets you? Nothing.
there's a great saying I learned from a mentor of mine. And I've always used it. It's just awesome. I use it when I
Hey,
teach.
did you
But we
buy
talk
him
about
mushroom
what's
coffee? You had a mentor.
yes,
Sorry,
we
I
can break
can't
out the coffee, but
Yeah,
you're getting
okay.
this for free and there's no strings attached.
Okay.
No strings
Ooh.
attached. Okay. So it's just a little saying. A lot of guys, again, we talk about ego, they're judging their gross revenue, right? Man, I did 100 million, I did 25 million, I did this, and then I'll get in with these guys and we're coaching, we're building, we're systemizing. I'm like, well, let's talk real net profit, RNP. And they're like, well, what do you mean? Well, I know what my profit is. No, your real net profit. You're showing me profit, like book profit, but where has all the money really have to go when you've paid everything, your taxes, your salary, your income, everybody on the team, everything, all your capital reinvestment, all your replacement costs, everything else, how much is left on the table that has nowhere to go? That's real net profit. Okay. So the saying goes, gross revenue feeds the ego, profit feeds the family.
100%, man. I call my vanity lines my profit number. Hey, Chris, how much man? I did 6 million last year as a handyman. Yeah. How about that? Hey, Chris, how much you make? Hey, I did 6 million in revenue. Let's talk my vanity, not my sanity.
Right.
You're right.
And you go back to it. I've got guys doing 10 million a year and they're barely bringing home 100 grand.
I mean, especially in the home services world, it's a tough biz, bro. It's tough to not be a commodity. It's tough to be a unique selling proposition, tough to be doing that. But the real net numbers out there, I mean, I just got to tell everybody, I mean, there were years it was 3% and there were years it was 12%, but not much more than that. At the end of the day, back to your real net profit. I mean, looking at it realistically, don't give me these bullshit numbers. realistically numbers. Those are the real one. And that's what I told people before they started. They're like, hey, what should I expect? Oh, no. I was told. I'm like, dude, I built my entire business plan on 20%.
Mm.
Yeah. And how'd I do?
How'd that go?
Yeah. Not because I was doing it like a consultant because that's what I had known before. But we start looking at the hard costs and what you got to do. And I have to W-2 all of my employees. I got to buy all the trucks. I pay for the gas. But I do that to create the great quality system of the trusted toolbox and the handyman and being able to scale to 15 people. So back to what Richard's saying, you got to know your numbers and you got to also, you got to really understand what your real net profit is, because I think a lot of people get really tied up into that number. I'm 6, I'm 10. Okay, good for you. I'm 100 million. Great. Where's your house? I'm renting. What?
Yeah, it's and they get to those gross numbers too. And the fun part is I go in there and I'm like, you know what I see? Waste, inefficiency. I see ungodly amounts of like, you know how much money you could actually have? You're just focused on this big number, but nothing is run right. You could have 1.5 a year instead of 100,000. I'm like in like 6 months, I could change that. Like I do it all the time. I'm like, what are you doing? You're running and gunning so hard, being out front and being the man beating your chest. I said, you got to lock that ego in a box, man. And we got to go to work. We can fix this, but dude, that means no one cares. No one's going to be there for you when you're busted.
Do you mean I have to sell my Go Fast boat?
Damn it. Well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying go sell everything. I'm just saying that, like, these guys who are so driven by gross revenue, it's just like, man, I'll take you out in a heartbeat.
Yep.
I can beat you and you won't even know it, but I can live large because I got real money. You just have paper, you have book money. It looks like you have a lot on the books, but you don't have any reality money. And that's the challenge.
Man, I've enjoyed this. This has been awesome. And we're starting to run out of time. So how can everybody get the chance to talk to you, talking about real net profit, sharpen the spear, got your book going on? How can everybody get a hold of you?
SharpenTheSpearCoaching.com is the best thing. Tons of information on there. You can contact me via that. Love to talk to you about your business. If I can help you, that'd be awesome. We'll do a really cool discovery call. I got a lot of ways to see right where your business is right now and help you that way. Escape the Owner Prison, you can grab on Amazon. I might have given you guys the link to that, but go to Amazon, look for Escape the Owner Prison by Richard Walsh, and you'll find it there. Get a copy of that. If you really want to talk to me and you want me to give you a free gift, contact me via my website. I'll give you the audio version of Escape the Owner Prison for free.
All right, man. Big
mentor.
Listen right there.
I'll be a book mentor.
Now, did you read your audio book? Is it your?
I would.
There's no way you let somebody else read that thing.
That's right. No
Except for he's all about outsourcing and having, delegating it.
Well, no, he did say automate.
Choke up. No one's going to choke up during the certain parts of that book that I did. It's just like,
all right.
You just remember stuff. So it's I had to do it.
Oh man, I'm gonna listen to that one. I'm gonna get that up because I have not been listening to a lot of podcasts lately. I've been listening to a lot of Audible books. And that's where I've been finding my time in the truck when I'm driving between appointments or doing whatever I'm doing. But getting back in the podcast trail, yeah, it's always good to get out there. I mean, one of the things I just got done laying this down on my sales guys is one of the guys had made a comment in the hallway, and he didn't think I heard him, and he says, "Man, I've been working 60 hours a week." And I grabbed him and I said, "When you say you're working 60 hours a week, and you're doing 5 appointments a day, my question for you is, in between those appointments, are you listening to the sports talk radio? You listen to hard rock? You listen to classic rock? Or are you listening on how to be a better salesman? Are you listening to Seth? Are you listening to Zig? Are you listening to guys who can help you earn more money? Or are you just telling me you're working 60 hours a week?" Well, and another thing, when you say you're working 60 hours a week, are you flipping up the laptop after the kids went to bed and you're watching the Braves game, baseball, and just doing your thing? Or are you really focused on trying to make money? Because don't give me the 60 hours a week, because this job is a 40-hour a week job. And if you really want to go make $1 million, you want to go get your 100 to 150,000 a year in commish. That's how you make it. And that's the discipline that you can hear from Richard talking. And I love it, man. I think this is just dynamite stuff. So Richard, this has been awesome. Guys, go out there, check it out. He offered you up a free Audible book. Richard, we talked books already. So I've got Grit and I've got your book. And so that's one of our big questions, is a book you'd refer. And I think you've got us on that one. I think that one's pretty good.
Yep, done.
What's the favorite feature of your house?
I'm going to say it's my living room, dining room combination, but in particular, it's this leather chair I have that I join every morning about 4 a.m. with a cup of coffee. And I love it. It's quiet, it's dark. I do my little Bible study then. I read, I listen to music, I meditate on the day, and I just really get prepped to go to the gym. Because then at 5:30, I go to the gym and get my workout in. So that spot I love it. There's a baby grand piano, there's a nice farm table, they're kind of just, it's just a place of peace. I love it.
That's awesome, man. I love that one.
I have a question, not part of our 4 questions, but where can we see your metal sculptures?
Well, you want to go to where they're at or like online?
Well, I don't know. Do you have one in Atlanta? Otherwise, I'll go online.
No, the online, if you go to Rick Rock, this is RIKROCK.net. Jump on there, you'll see all my work. It's like my living portfolio of water features, the sculpture and everything.
Did you ever go back to doing that? Are you doing some of that anymore? Any of these sculptures for funsies?
No, you know better than that.
I did. I just was asking. I want to hear the.
Yeah, I would have thought that'd be how he blows off steam.
No, man,
If
burn the
you
bridges,
go-
baby.
Get the
Burn the
torch going.
bridges, bro. No, he's out. He's done.
If you go to the Garfield Park Conservatory in Chicago, which is the largest conservatory under glass in this country, you can go see Sugar from the Sun, which is the most cutting edge exhibit in the world on photosynthesis. I built everything in there. It's a permanent exhibit, all core 10 steel. It is spectacular. World class. I mean, it is unbelievable. I did a piece for the Shed Aquarium in Chicago that's now in Beaufort, North Carolina. I believe they bought it. Kind of cool thing there. So yeah, I got stuff around, but yeah.
Nice.
These photos are amazing. You really have a future in this.
No,
I
that's a
think.
pass, bro. It's a pass.
It's
And-
it's
and
like when the
there's no
artist
way-
dies, it's worth more. All that stuff's worth a lot more.
In fact, he got rid
Yeah,
of
how's
that.
your health? Maybe I'll buy a piece.
He got rid of that like Candyman quit my company. They don't just burn the bridge. They
do you know
blow
what
it
I
up.
did though, guys?
They blow up the river, the whole thing. They kill it all. He's never going back.
One thing real quick I did there. So there's a 60-foot canopy of steel trees I made. They're low with epiphyte plants and they actually move with the wind and stuff inside this conservatory. Each tree, I had 5 kids at the time. My 6th one wasn't born yet. So each one has their name hidden in the weld bead texture on the tree. So they can go back in like 50 years and show their kids, hey, my old man made this. See that? It's got my name on it.
You're
kinda cool.
depriving the world of your art, Richard.
Yes.
Well,
I know.
scarcity. You know what? That makes money. Scarcity. Oh, I like that idea.
Yes.
All right. All right.
Did you have a last
We gotta
question?
have the last question, and because I love this stuff as a remodeler, as a guy who works in a lot of houses, we want a DIY nightmare story. I'm talking fire, flooding, pests. I mean, the whole world. Bring it down. A DIY nightmare story.
So, wow. I don't fail at things. I'm just kidding.
What? Hang on. Now.
So I thought about the script. Can I give what people never hear about? And you can appreciate this. They always hear about the bad contractor, right? I had this problem. They never hear the other side, the bad client.
Yeah.
Never have-
Come on,
can I
let's
share
do
that
it.
story?
Yeah, let's do it.
I have a good one.
I'll bet you every one of our listeners is going, oh yeah, I want to hear this.
Oh,
Yeah.
finally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we should
Finally.
start like a Yelp for contractors.
I know.
Just
It's called
you
bad,
hate on your hate on your bad
badcustomers.com.
clients.
I know.
Yeah,
I want
Bad
bad
Karen.
I think they have something like that. But so I had this guy on the North Shore of Chicago, and we're getting Lake Forest, Illinois, and I'm building this water feature for this guy that is the finest thing on the North Shore. 300 tons of boulders. I mean, it's coming down. I have cantilevered waterfalls off the end of the pool with boulders and everything else. And it's unbelievable, right? Bluestone patio, streams that drop down off the hill. Looks like they're going in the pond, but they're not in the lake, and beautiful stuff. And I'm working. He keeps coming out. He's like, hey, can we do this and this? Yeah, okay, we'll do it. I'll take care of you, I promise. So we started about 110,000 for the project. And now he adds about 70 grand worth of stuff. And he's going to take care of me. We get the handshake. He's good for it, right? He's got the 12,000 square foot house, got the gym in the basement, got the trainer, all this stuff. And he's that guy. And, as contractors, you usually get the gut feeling on someone. You get these indicators, these little red flags. I had a couple. One was, and I'm going to share real quick. So he's talking to me about, well, hey, man, how many times can you press 235? And I go, 13. I go, how about you? And he goes, 3 or 4. And I go, which is it, 3 or 4? I go, Dude, if you lift, man, you know what you can do. It's not 3 or 4. I'd say 4. If I got 4, I say 4. I got 13. I didn't get 14. I didn't say 13. So I'm like, he's a liar. He's just a liar. And I let it go. So we're going on this. So project's all finished. It is spectacular. You can see that on that website too. It is amazing. And so I got the change order, all the additional, it's an additional 70 grand he owes me. So I walk up to him and I got it and I go, okay, his name was Lou. I go, Lou, I got the phone. He goes, okay. And I pull it back and I go, but I'm going to make a prediction before I give this to you. My prediction is you're going to try to nitpick all this stuff and you're going to screw me out of this money. It's exactly what I said. And I handed it to him. He opened it up and down the bottom line, he looked at me dead serious. You're right. I'm going to screw you. And I went, so we're standing next to my pond. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to drown him.
Yeah.
We're going for a swim.
Yeah.
Did I mention I was a black belt?
Right.
Yeah. So I just started walking away. I took a breath, started walking. He goes, well, you got to understand. I go, no, I know you're nitpicking. He goes, well, where are you going? I go, well, I'm going to the courthouse to file my lien. That's the only option I have right now. Right. So I did that. 2 years later goes by. He's going to settle. Our lawyers are all talking to each other. We get in front of the judge. He walks up. He goes, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not paying that. I'll give him 10 grand. That's it. And he starts walking out. And both lawyers are looking at each other. I'm like, okay, they're looking at each other. I'm following old Lou out the door. And he's heading for the elevator. My lawyer, what are you doing? I go, oh, he's not getting to the first floor. Okay, he's not. I'm going to finish him in the elevator. Okay, so
Nice.
I'm not taking this. You can't. He's holding me back and the door's closed and he's looking at me. I'm like, I'm just, yeah. So it was, my legal fees were only $9,600 though. That's the good news. So I made $400 on that. So, but it was a long time, but.
So the judge let that go. You did not get your
Yeah,
money.
that was the settle. And I'm like, you know what? This guy is a piece of work. And let me give you the final best part of this whole thing. And so now I'm down the road about 2 miles. I'm going to do another magnificent pond for this really nice couple. Great people, like super nice. I'm painting a picture. I'm writing out the contract. We're by their pool and the birds are chirping. And it's beautiful. And I got the contract and I said, I'm about to slide it to him. I go, let me tell you a quick story about a guy down the road. Okay, so I tell him about old Lou, the whole experience. Then I slid the contract over. I don't recommend anyone do this. I put my hand down. I said, do you know what I'll do to you if you don't pay me? and the guy just goes, one hit, I'm laying down. You know, and I'm like, okay, I'm just telling you, I'm not going through that again. And he became one of my best clients ever. Became friends. We did some additional business together. It was really cool. But yeah, that was my hurtful nightmare story.
Oh man,
you
you get in business and it happens. It's happened to me, and it's not even fun. You're trying to do the right thing by people, and people just don't do it, man, because the general public is flipping crazy. So with that, man, who wants the handyman business? Call me. Yo.
Kind of a bummer that you're ending on.
No, I'm not going to end on that. It's still fun. I you know what's rewarding? I just got done talking to not the sales guys. I was talking to my project managers this morning, and we're about to kill this awesome bathroom. And I said, man, this thing, I'm putting this in for the national competition. We're part of NARI. We're going to put this in for the Contractor of the Year award, because this bathroom is just popping, man. We had a designer help us with it, and it's coming together, and it came together about 3 weeks faster than we thought it would. So how about that? We exceeded expectations in terms of timeline. We came in under at the same budget without any change controls that he didn't initiate. So he is thrilled. We're thrilled. It's been great. I said, isn't that cool when you can have one of those kind of customers? And that's why you do what we do.
Nice.
And that's how we do it. Guys, get out there. Sharpen the Spear, Richard Walsh. You got to go check him out. We got to keep going, keep rocking, make this day happen, make that week happen. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Richard.